I have a tale of woe and terror. Hundreds of years ago, a warlord whose name has been lost to legend was named the Decapitator for his favorite hobby of chopping people's heads off. He chopped anyone's heads off who opposed him. No one dared. Often his throne room was lined with fresh and old heads that he had decapitated from his victims. He was a despot and a tyrant. But finally his mortal coil would end. He made pacts with dark gods. He would come back again. He would live forever, and none could stop him. He decided to have his best soldiers killed at his death and interned in his tomb with him. An elaborate tomb was built. But he was tricked in the end. Priests of Pelor gathered. They prepared a magical sigil. They engraved it on his tomb door and sealed him in forever. Never would he take heads again. Years passed. Vegetation and vines grew over his tomb, almost obscuring it. In the region, new adventurers came into the area and began to set up a kingdom. While exploring and expanding their kingdom, they ran into an interesting gnome named Professor Narplethorpe. This gnome was obsessed with history and ancient sites. The adventurers came across him, the lords of the kingdom. He was in dire straits. Some mites had attacked his caravan, and one of his wagons had dashed into the river, threatening many of his supplies, books, and notes. The lords rescued him, and in gratitude he served them dinner and talked about history and asked them of their adventures so that he could record it and add it to the history of the area. In morning he was gone, and the lords of the kingdom went their own way. But his insatiable curiosity led him to the tomb of the Decapitator. Then the lords heard of atrocities happening in their kingdom. Villages, people dying, losing their heads. People were terrified. The stories of the ancient Decapitator were spreading through the land like wildfire. The lords, protective of their people, searched for this monster, but could find no trace. His step was so light, like a specter, that it was difficult to track. The lords figured out that he would come back again the next full moon, and so they were ready. They figured he would attack at the fringe of the kingdom, and they set up a central location and riders, so if they heard any news, they could dash to help. Then stories came in. Heads were being lost. The Decapitator was loose. The specter was roaming again. People fled in terror. The lords of the kingdom came to their aid. This time they were able to track this vile creature. They found the trail led back to this ancient tomb that had been hidden. When they got to the door, they noticed that the vegetation had been cut back. But also something else very strange. The priest in the party noticed that a sign of Pelor had been smashed and lay near the door. The curious thing was, the door was open from the outside, not the in. So someone had broken the seal and got into the tomb. This is where our adventure begins. Hey guys, I got the lights on. That's the story details of the adventure. Some more background notes and details. The characters were defending their kingdom, and they were tracking the Decapitator, which is a wight. Actually, a wight. He's a monster that's a wight that uses an axe. But the players don't know that, of course. They have to find out. But they track him to his tomb, and what I'm going to show you today is the final fight at the end of his tomb. This is what I'll be showing you today. I won't be showing you the whole crypt, but I'll be showing you the final fight with the Decapitator. But that was the creepy background of this nasty character. And so the players had high stakes in this. I mean, it was terrorizing their kingdom, and they had to stop this, or their loyalty would continue to decrease among the population. So they had to show that they were capable of taking out threats, especially one as formidable as this. So that's exactly what they did after they were able to track him this time back to his lair. So it's a great fight, and I have some neat terrain on the board that I've made to accentuate the fight, and I'll explain that when I go to the table and show it to you. So let's hit the table, and I'll explain all the stuff I got going on. So here's the tile I wanted to talk about today, but I wanted to talk about some of the unique features first. You can see I've got some piles here, and these are supposed to be bone piles. So what I did was I just kind of dashed the glue gun a little bit, and then did some blobs for like skulls and that kind of thing. So I tried to make it look like a bone pile. So that's a quick and easy way you can make it look like a bone pile. Then I painted it brown and some light and some bone color. So there's bone piles around the room. Also, I have a few interesting items. I've got this kind of altar thing, which is basically out of sculptly clay, and I sculpted it. So I give you kind of a closer look. And this is going to play an important part in the encounter, an unexpected part that the players won't realize. So that'll be there. And then I have this large artifact in the back, which is this black monolith. And I'll try to get it close so you can see there are all these faces attached, or heads attached to this black monolith. So this is carved out of styrofoam, the same half-inch styrofoam I showed in the firewall vid. So I carved it out, then used the glue gun to do some of this bloody detail, and the lattice, the gory lattice for the heads to attach. And the heads themselves are some Games Workshop zombie heads. So I attached all those to this. As long as the characters are within a certain range of this, they'll take damage as the heads scream and wail perpetually when the characters are in the room. And then I did this you can see I did this kind of veining on the floor out from this artifact to just give it a really creepy look. I also did a few rubble piles in the room just to give it some character. Now this is the inside of a tomb, and the entire wall of this is cemented with skulls. The guy was called the Decapitator, and he definitely earned his, he was a warlord, and he definitely earned his nickname. So now I'm going to move to how I ran the actual encounter now that I've shown you some of the details of this tile, and we'll go to that now. As the party approaches this last chamber, the stone doors just suddenly grind open and slide to the sides. The way is clear. The characters enter ready to face any challenge that confronts them. They are horrified by what they see. 5 gigantic, undead tracking beasts of the warlord. He stands on his altar. The horrific monument behind him, the head screaming in agony. The characters run in and attack, trying to take the brutal warlord down. His beasts converge, fighting and clawing at the adventurers. The adventurers move up, concentrating on the warlord himself. Wounded, The warlord swings in his wild arc, slashing at the characters. But then something unexpected happens. The altar begins to move, begins to levitate. The altar levitates into the air, with the Decapitator with it. The Decapitator begins a strange chant. Bones start to knit together in the bone piles in the room and move menacingly towards the party. Someone in the party takes a desperate shot and knocks the warlord clean off of his altar. The mage, seeing an opportunity, teleports to the top of the altar. He channels all his energy to try to counter this evil device. Burned and scalding, he manages to shun the energy, push it back. The skeletons crumble back into bones. Then the altar, drained of its mystic energy, lands in front of the monument. The warlord is back on his feet, nearly taking down several party members. Several of the hounds have perished, and the fight continues. The party continues to hack away at the warlord. Finally, his evil energy spent, he crumbles to the ground. The hounds with him, losing their ability to sustain themselves without their warlord. As the Decapitator dies, the monument shuts down. The heads cease screaming and wailing and are finally given peace. The adventurers have saved their kingdom from a great threat and are hailed as heroes back in their kingdom. Hey guys, if you're really digging these videos and would like some more information or to talk to other crafters, look at the link below in the description, and you can join my forum on the DM's Craft. We'd love to have you, and I'll see you there.